Okay, fantastic. Let me know when it's live streaming. Great. Hello, fans. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out. My name is Frances Koncan. I'm Anishinaabe and Slovene. My pronouns are she, her. I am a former playwright who quit recently, currently a director, a journalist at the Winnipeg Free Press, and then I just do vague theater-related activities in my evenings and spare time. And I am moderating this panel. I've never moderated a panel before, so I apologize in advance if it gets out of hand. That's it for me, not that interesting. I'm a Taurus, I have a dog, and that's about it. So I'm gonna hand it over.
Great. I have a cat.
Oh,
I'm a cat. I know. It's divided, really. My name is Joy. I'm with Synonym Art Consultation and Wall to Wall Winnipeg, which just finished up this September. So if you see all those new murals in the downtown and West Broadway and in the West End, we did a couple of those. So feel free to check them out. I go by a pronoun she, her. I am a first generation and third generation settler here in Canada. And yeah, I kind of do a little bit of everything, social media, events, yeah, all the fun things. But yeah, I'll pass it on.
I think we can tag team. Pulled it out out of nowhere. I magically produce microphones, actually. Secret habit. Right. I'm Larysa Musick. I'm a spoken word poet and an illustrator, former director of Winnipeg Poetry Slam, and songwriter. And yeah, I'm from Headingley, and but I come to Winnipeg to do all these things. So yeah, here I am. I go by she, her pronouns. Yeah.
Nice. Hello, everyone. I'm Franklin Fernando. I'm a visual artist, and right now I'm working on a mural on 1901 with talented Mandy Van Leeuwen. And yeah, I've been doing it for like about 3 years now, full time. And yeah, doing oil focuses on oil. So thanks for having me tonight, Creator Manitoba. So.
Okay, now you can clap. Great job, everybody. All right, so I think the format I told them we were going to do this in was I had some questions prepared. We're going to have a little chat, and then we will open up the floor to all of your pressing social media inquiries. Does that sound good? Okay, great. Thank you for your enthusiasm. All right, let's see. Where am I? Okay. Let's just say a little bit about what we do with social media in our jobs and in our daily life.
So particularly for work, I guess I do all the things on social media. With Chloe, who is part of Synonym Art Consultation, we together strategize about what our content's going to be in the next couple of days. And usually she will take on Instagram and I'll help her with that. But because we're managing 2 social media accounts now, Synonym Art Consultation and Wall to Wall Winnipeg, it's definitely a challenge, but it's good that it's divided between 2 people. But really, like, it's nice to have a partner on social media in that context. And then personally, I kind of just go a little nuts with mine. It doesn't really have a plan. If you look at it right now, my stories are photos from Mexico City, and I've had a lot of people asking me like, oh, where are you? You're so lucky. You're away. And I'm like, no, it's all a facade, everybody. So yeah, that's generally what I do.
Well, I guess I ran a little bit of Winnipeg Poetry Slam's account for a little while, but right now, I mean, it's been a while since I did that. I just run my own personal account. Well, 2 accounts. One is for pictures of me going to India and like pictures of my boyfriend, and then a separate account is I just post illustrations, excerpts from poetry, maybe videos of illustrations in progress, and also just promoting and sharing any other artists who are exhibiting that I really love and appreciate, that sort of thing. So I kind of use it to just post my own creations and share other people's creations.
Yeah, same with me too. Mostly the only reason I kind of use social media is for promoting art. That's what I do. So always I try to do share anything that's related to art, you know. And my personal life, I sometimes don't share much, but any social media for me is a kind of a platform to let people know about what's going on in art and everything. And for me, it's been like, in terms of when it comes to a business aspect, it's really amazing. So anything related to art is what I do on social media.
Very cool. I use social media a lot. I'm primarily like a freelance artist, so pretty much everything I've ever done is just on social media. And I very rarely use other forms of marketing because I'm too poor. So, which leads me to my next question, which is, what is the balance for all of you in terms of promotion and marketing? How much of that is kind of the old traditional ways of like print and radio versus social media? What do you get from social media that those other platforms aren't offering?
I might have to, if you could explain one more time. Sorry.
No, just a question of like I work at a paper, and we're always talking about no, any day now it's just gonna shut down because no one reads the paper anymore. And in terms of, I think a lot of marketing is switching over to social media and utilizing platforms like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter promotions, and how much of what you do is focused purely on social media, and how much like percentage or fraction, if you're good at math, I guess. I'm not. But how much of that do you devote, kind of?
Yeah, to me, I still think like the most effective way to market is in person. You know, I found a lot of my jobs and a lot of things that went through was in person to person. Sometimes you hang out, have a great conversation, and then you talk about what's going on in your life, and hey, you know, I'm an artist and I do these things, and they're interested, and that actually I find the most effective part. But I find the world is kind of changing, and today and date, like social media is like the way like a lot of the younger generations involved, and they tend to like share a lot. So I spend any opportunity I would get, even tonight, like I would take a picture or whatever and share, hey, it was a great panel discussion and it's all regarding art. So I would promote it that way. But I tend to network in person because it's the best thing ever, I find, as much as you want to do social media wise. Like, you want to sometimes go to those places. You want to go to like come to Creative Manitoba, talk to people there, and they have a lot of knowledge and information they will help you. Sometimes they have friends. They will, hey, I have this friend. That will only sometimes happen just because you have this human-to-human conversation, you know. So I really believe in a human-to-human as much as social media. So.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that I primarily use Instagram for all of my social media marketing. I do not use Facebook very much. I don't use Twitter at all. And I use Pinterest occasionally sometimes to post and share art because it's a really good avenue for illustrators. I think I'm an essentialist when it comes to social media. I have a list of priorities, like what's my priority to share and what isn't. And I think you really need to, it's kind of weird, but I think I developed this in Poetry Slam because, you're sharing very emotional, evocative work, and you learn how to say to yourself, do I need to share this right now, or can I sit on it? Can I be with my work and self-care and take care of myself, and then share later when I'm feeling more comfortable and like I can take care of the audience? And I think it should be that way with social media too. Then again, it is also fun, but sometimes it really depends on the nature of your work. I think you really have to, it's all very individualistic. I think it's a really a great way to gather people together and start conversations really quickly, particularly through Instagram stories. People are flipping through that really quickly, I find, through my own and through other Instagram stories, seeing what kind of engagement they're getting. But I'm with you on the person-to-person thing, especially if you're promoting an event. Like, you need to go to people in person and say, hey, there's an event happening on Friday, because they're forgetting. They're looking all over the place, and content is coming at them 100 miles per hour, and they're like, I don't know, I forgot that he had an art show on Saturday night. Honestly, I wanted to go. Why didn't you tell me? So it's really about getting over yourself and stop like self-deprecating and just tell people where your show is. And you got it right.
I got my own. You have a very healthy relationship with social media. That's very good. With me, it's a little bit different because I work for an art consultation business. Social media is a huge part to what we do. It's essentially 50-50. An important part of the way we get work is actually promoting it, and the way people see our work is through different platforms. So we primarily do everything on Instagram, but Facebook and Twitter is something that we also use because we know that that's where our clients are sometimes. And so, again, with the 50-50, it is very important that people talk about our business and talk about who we are, and obviously have really great relationships. And to kind of think about this, mouth, what is it? The word of mouth? Word of mouth, yeah. Sorry. This word of mouth relationship that you have with people, that's very important. And I think that can also transfer over to social media in a lot of ways. When we do events, we actually text and DM people a lot with our information, with, I guess, the posts that we want people to drive to, and we ask them to share it. And we know that it's really important to us that they share it, and so we ask them personally. And they're our friends. It's not like these random strangers that we're asking. It's people who we genuinely like and genuinely want there as well. But usually if they're wanting to go, they're going to bring in their friends, and their friends are also using that social media platform. So I think you can actually still use social media in the one-on-one way. And really, social media, I like to think of it, and someone brought this up before, it's kind of like your poster.
I've never thought of it that way before. Now I'm going to go fix my poster because I don't think it's cute. I don't curate social media at all. I just, whatever I feel in the moment, I post, and then people screenshot it, and 5 years later come back and they say, remember this time you said that? I'm like, yeah. So I can't run for politics or anything. So in terms of, what? Maybe you can. Maybe, yeah, we'll see. In terms of, do you folks use any kind of analytics? Do you do search engine optimization for anything? Do you dive into that? I've had Google Analytics before, and I don't know how to use it. And I found it made me really sad when no one was watching my stuff. So I turned it off, but I know that's one thing out there that you can put on things to kind of find where your audience is, what time they check your posts, that sort of thing. Do you take all of that stuff into consideration?
I don't really look at my, statistics or whatever, yeah. But what I really believe is that if anything that you create, if it's a great product, or for example, if you're doing something really good work, it could be a song, it could be a art form, or whatever the production that you're gonna do, if it's solid, your work will speak it to itself, And I sometimes find when you do a really good piece of work or something, people love it and they start sharing, and it it's very important to me. I find doing the work really solid, because that will get shared. So many people like it. Hey, check this out, whatever, So that's how my experience has been. Sometimes it doesn't care to me much to go to see how many people like it, if it's one person, if it's really enjoying it and having that's my thing, Maybe it's different for everyone here, but
Oh, there we go. It's okay. So I wish I knew more about SEO. It's very tricky, and I still need to learn a lot more, and I feel like I have to actually take a class on it to really understand its benefits. I have dabbled in it a little bit, but it's way over my head. Yes. I am going to sign up for that course. Give me the information, please. Yeah, let's get those dates in. Oh, yeah. November 7th, everybody, so sign up. SEO, Creative Manitoba. Sign up. Anyways, besides that plug, I need to learn more about SEO, so I'm going to be there on November 7th. But as a business, again, understanding and tracking our analytics is very important. But the strange thing is, like, we primarily, again, dabble in Instagram, and Instagram is so strange. Like, sometimes you can have 50 likes, sometimes like 0, sometimes 1,000. It's very strange how it works, and I still haven't really cracked the code on it, even though I look at it every day. So, yeah, I don't know.
Right. So I also have some experience doing some marketing freelance work for clients, and for smaller business corporate, it seems like Google Analytics is like a real thing. I remember running Google Ads for a rural internet company, and that worked really well. And we saw serious results also from Facebook ads. For a visual artist, I'm not sure if it translates as well, but I would love to see someone try it. I think as far as Instagram analytics, I also have a similar relationship with it, where sometimes you post a picture of your face and you get 2,000 likes, and you're like, what? And you post an image of your illustration. People are like, I don't care about this. Go away. But it really depends, and like the rules change too. I know there's if you follow like a Hootsuite blog, or like there's I think Facebook even has a regular blog, Pinterest has a blog about this, but like there are new rules to Instagram where if you follow someone and you like their image the second they post it, Instagram will assume that you're best friends and they will show your content to them first. Like there's lots of fun rules like that. It's just you have to keep updated with it if you are really like keen on promoting your stuff that way. I think that's really good for a small startup to think that way. But yeah, as far as analytics, I don't look at it a ton. I just occasionally do kind of gauge like, okay, what poetry is working, and what images are working, and working in the sense of what's resonating with people. And I take it with a grain of salt and continue to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, I also actually took a chance on one time. I did a painting of Biggie Smalls, the rapper, and it was very effective. Like it was in a moment, and I remember, hey, you know what? I want to try this on Instagram, and I actually put an ad. I paid for a Facebook ad, like Instagram ad or whatever, and it was very responsive. I had a lot of people, hey, can you get a print or thing like that. So I just think sometimes you also want to like sell your best, if it's a really good product and you want to take advantage of it. Like I don't always, every single image that I paint or whatever, I'm not going to like spend $30 every single time to keep it going. I would just pick sometimes the one that's really good, and then I would put an ad for it and see how, and you get more work, or people want prints and you make some money, so.
How often do you engage on social media? Like, how much is too much to post, or how much, how little is too little that you kind of fall off the radar of people, and how much is too much that everyone just mutes you because they're like, you're annoying, get a job.
Oh, you want? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a really good TED Talk, actually, by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Does everyone know that actor? Okay, really cute. 500 Days of Summer. Yeah, okay. Good egg. He did this talk about artists and social media and the relationship we have with it. And it's complicated because the artist has the impulse to create a gift for the world, and then we have this big job in this new world that we have to sell it. And we're like, what? I have to sell my thing that's a gift? And then there's also what he talks about is getting attention versus paying attention. So I think for me, the line really gets drawn when I get way too sucked into how many followers I have, and I stop worrying about, is my work where it needs to be right now? Like, have I drawn an image today, or have I like done the work today? And if I haven't, then I need to take a break from social media. And I think I have taken like weeks and weeks off and returned back. And also there are days where I'm like continuously posting an image because I've been illustrating frequently. So I honestly think for a small business, maybe they can't forfeit that, but for the artist, I think it's a real test, and I don't think you should forfeit the work ever for attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you a lot. And for me, also, I sometimes see like, this is from an artistic perspective. Like for me, I sometimes never try to share my personal life, but I also see sometimes some of the mistakes some other artists or people do. This like every day there's something, like it could be a lot of drama, and you share that. And sometimes, people get tired of having to read because they want to see maybe more of your work, what you've been doing, instead of like a rant or, going like, what I mean? Like, I just think sometimes you want to have a balance. And for me, I found it was very successful, the fact that I just want to stay consistent, constantly sharing work and anything related to art. And sometimes you have your drama, and that's why you have best friends for, right? Like, you hang out, hey man, I'm having a bad day, whatever, can we go for a beer? Or you just talk things through. And nothing wrong with sharing it on social media, but I don't think like everyone needs to know about what's going on, like yeah.
I think as a business, we try to post on our feeds 2 to 5 times a week. Five is actually a lot. But usually that's for our algorithm and to also keep top of mind for people. And plus we have a lot of content to share throughout like the festival and also the commissions that we help with. There's a lot that we want to share, and we also, with that, we also promote artists as well, like the artists who did work on the paintings. And in our stories, and I'm talking about Instagram again, usually every day, and it doesn't actually have to be about our work particularly. We do like to also support a lot of artists that we work with, or musicians that we work with, or just something that we actually really enjoy. So whether it's like political stance, the climate strike, things like that, it's really important that our audiences are like know that we're engaging with those things, and that those things are also important to us. And if they don't really align with it, then we're going to lose those followers. But that's totally fine, because then we don't want those followers. I'm also interested to know how many times you post and things like that. Answer your own question.
Well, anyone who follows me on anything knows that I post, I want to say, on a bad day, on Twitter, probably like 10 times a day. On Instagram, I try to do only 1 per day because I don't want to, spoil my followers with my incredible life. No, I'm just very sad. The sadder I am, the more I post, which is interesting because some people are like, I really love how like authentic you are. It's so good to know that other people feel this way. And other people are like, shut up. I hate you. And that hurts, but, fair. I like to check in every day with a little, like, if it's a picture of my dog, that always gets a lot of likes. If it's a picture of me, 0 likes. But, they're seeing it. And Kim Kardashian always says haters are just more people paying attention to you, I don't know. How do you all feel about that? Kim Kardashian West.
don't know. I'm going to pass this question on to you, Larysa. Wasn't prepared for that one.
I don't know.
New question. All right. Can we actually just quickly go down this line? I know we've mostly talked about like Instagram, but what platforms specifically are you all using kind of in your day-to-day business and day-to-day lives?
Yeah, I use a lot Instagram and Facebook is like my main thing. I'm slowly getting into Twitter. I just, like as growing as an artist, like I had different accounts and, you're trying to come and you just don't know where you stand and all that kind of. And so I'm kind of right now working on it. But I usually do a lot on Facebook and Instagram. That's for sure.
Yeah, I use Instagram and Instagram stories, and a little bit of Facebook events, a little bit of Facebook.
We as a business use Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And me personally, I mostly use Instagram, sometimes Facebook, more for events. I usually am the scroller of Facebook, not the promoter of Facebook.
Right, so Instagram is very popular here. I see. Great. I also use Instagram. What would you like to say?
I think what's really important, I think why we all use Instagram, it's a very visual platform. And so it's kind of the way we obviously promote is because we're mostly visual artists. And even through music, that allows us to play videos and things like that. So I think it's just the easiest to get along with.
Yeah, Instagram's you can do a lot on Instagram, which is actually a great segue to, in terms of the content you're producing, do you generally do photographs? Do you do stories, videos? What do you find is the most successful for you? Is it important to have a good caption, just to have a good picture, or to have kind of the whole package?
I think, and this is with like business and not business, I think the most important thing is storytelling and what you're actually saying on your platform. I think your feed can look a lot of ways or your stories can look a lot of ways, but I think it's just about kind of like that commonality of what you're trying to tell. And so with the business, Pseudonym and Wall to Wall really do mostly post photos. But this year for the festival, we actually started doing 1 week recaps where we would just recap about the events and murals and paintings and upcoming things that happened in week 1. And when we do post stories, we actually have started asking our photographers to take photos vertical so that we actually have images that are ready for both the feed, so the horizontal photos or the square, and then the vertical for our stories. And it's really important, I think, for us to be able to have like the work translated in a variety of mediums. So I think that's kind of like the most important thing and I think that's the most important thing, I think, when you're an artist and thinking about your work, is that when you do have photographers coming in or you have your friends coming in to take photos, really think about where these photos are ending up. Obviously, it's good to always have your work documented, but it's also good to think about the platforms where you're going to be showcasing your work.
I really like Instagram because, it's very, you could share any pictures and I actually got a Samsung. That's because they have a really good camera and I could take a quick, this is for like marketing. I would not have a cell phone, like it's just because mostly to take pictures and share. And Instagram has everything like organized, for example, if someone goes online and look up Instagram, like on a computer, like they will have all squares in and you could see the artwork completely all, so they could scroll through. And sometimes with Facebook, sometimes you share different things and your artwork could get lost, right? So that's why I like Instagram a lot because all my artwork will be in one place if they want to go and look at it. And I also have a website too, because I usually use that. I do email list, which I also find very effective for like marketing and stuff, and let people know, because people tend to have their email. I'm a lot of the time very email person, and I use like MailChimp, and have that, so you could have templates and stuff and organize and let people know, put out something, hey, there's an event coming up, or wish them greetings or something, and stuff like that I do. And I recently bought like a Canon good camera so that I could take really professional pictures, so that I could put it on for my website. And on a website, I think you need to have really good quality images of your work, because when they click, you want to have the highest resolution, and it should speak to them on the spot. Because I find artwork speaks best in person, and sometimes every single time you want to try to get closer as possible on a high resolution, so that a human eye can whatever, like that feel on your website. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I honestly look at Instagram as a really quick portfolio. Like, you meet someone and they're like, who are you? Oh, cool. Do you have Instagram? Sweet. Look at it and they're like, oh, so you do art, or you do comedy, or do this. So really, if you're a comedian, then you put memes, videos of you doing comedy, this and that, like stuff that's relevant to your goals. Like, where do you want to be? Project into the future. What does that person do? And then do that. And for me, it's like, I used to want to do comics. I've transitioned out of that dream, but I used to post like really goofy illustrations and then like a funny caption, and that seemed to get a lot of engagement. That's very popular. Like New York Times, like cartoons do really well, and cartoons by Hillary, like that stuff is really engaging because it makes people laugh, it brings joy to their day. So stuff that adds value to people's lives is always nice. Just think from that way, like what would I stop on and want to read, That's not to say you can't share a personal story, but like balance and engage as well. So I'm trying to engage more now than I like yell at people. It's a learning curve. But lately, because my goals have changed, I'll post just an illustration with a shorter caption. I'm all about self-care for the artist, so I'll share something about self-care for myself that maybe is something good that someone else could read for that day. And then again, progress videos on Instagram, just me like illustrating something. It could just be a line, and for some reason it's exciting to people. They're like, oh, you drew a line. But video is very, very popular on social media because it's easy and you can swipe very fast through it. So that's primarily what I do. And again, just short excerpts from poems.
You already went, right? Okay, great. That actually brought up a question I have in general. I don't have an answer to it, but in terms of engaging with other businesses and other companies and other people's work, how important is that? Do you think that makes a big difference in how people engage with your stuff?
Huge. We, Synonym and Wall to Wall, typically engages with audiences and like our followers and our friends and our artists and our musicians like every day. It's really important that they feel like we're connecting and that we're following them. And I don't think it's even coming from a place, it's not coming from a place of, ooh, I hope they like my photo back, because it's not one of those like for likes. It's really about like wanting to make sure that everyone feels good about what they're posting and that we genuinely like them and that we genuinely want them to keep posting. And yeah, I think so. Engagement with other brands and businesses who we care about is really important to us.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I sometimes follow so many other inspirational artists myself. Like, for example, Justin Bua right now. He's one of my favorite artist, and I always go and I like and comment, and you know, and he, one thing that I learned from him is that there's so many people sometimes comment on it, and this guy sometimes goes and replies to them, you know, and you feel like, yeah, hey, you know what, thanks for the comment, and I find that's a really good way to engage. And when someone comment on your work and stuff, it's good to be appreciative, you know, say like thank you for your kind words, or just don't leave that to be, you know, like it's good to engage that way, and it keeps it going, right? And sometimes you never know, a conversation could spark on a comment and they will end up sharing it, or that would not do. So you want to take your chances. And yeah, I definitely follow few artists that I really love, and Voka is another one of them which I'm really inspired by. And these guys are very genuine. Like when you look at them, they share and they talk, they engage, and I learn a lot from them, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what was just said about like engaging authentically is really important, and it's not just good for you; it's good for your community. And what's good for your community is good for you in the long run, because when Winnipeg's art scene prospers, you know, potentially more funding, more engagement, more tourists, you know, just like projection again. But yeah, you know, if there's an artist that I really like along the same lines, it's like, okay, are they having an exhibition? Share it, or just comment on the comedian's meme. Say that's funny because I actually laughed at that. If you know have time in the day, it only takes like a second. And yeah, people that you want to collaborate with. I think it's always good as an artist to think in the future. Collaboration is really good. Not to like assume that they're going to collaborate with you, but to, you know, just, you know, connect with people all the time. And you never know who you're going to run into, and you never know what's going to work out. And yeah, when genres of art overlap, you know, really cool things can happen. So yeah, it is good to just send them a quick DM or a comment on their post, and engage just as much as you post, even more actually.
Great. Yeah, I agree with that. One of the reasons I use Twitter a lot is because I like to tweet at celebrities. I don't know. I'm a very shallow person, and it's just like one of the biggest joys of my day. It'll be if one of them tweets me back. I think it's incredible. It makes me so happy. Very recently, Devin Sawa, 90s child star from Casper and Now and Then, got in a fight with our local sketch comedy group Hunks on Twitter, and Devin was replying to them, and I was jealous, so I got in the argument too, and I threw Hunks under the bus. All four of my friends just slaughtered them. I said, yeah, Hunks, this is really unprofessional. How dare you do this to child star Devin Sawa? Devin did not like my tweet or reply to my tweet, so the lesson there is don't throw your friends under the bus just to get a celebrity to like you. Fun. What are do you have like any organizations or brands or people that you kind of look up to in terms of what they're doing on social media and how they're doing it? I don't want to call them influencers or anything, but they're sort of people that have always kind of like been at the forefront of different platforms and are like killing it in different things. And are there people and companies you look up to kind of see what they're doing and how they're doing it?
Yeah, I really like one thing that I'm starting to learn about is like kind of branding. You know, I have seen this is like one of my friend who is a real estate guy, and he's very consistent, and he got a logo and everything looks the same. So sometimes people also get like familiar with this is from this company right away, you know, it clicks in, and have kind of a pattern of what you share. Like I also do like music production and recordings, and I'm recently started to brand it in a way it looks similar, so that, you know what I mean, like when you find it, it'll come everything together, and mostly and people, it's easy for them to recognize, this is this brand, you know, because they see it, right? And yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of people I admire in Winnipeg. Actually, Synonym Art Consultation and Wall to Wall Winnipeg is freaking phenomenal. If you're not following them right now, you should be. Amazing branding, amazing work, supporting artists and putting on awesome events. There are some like hidden gems that I really enjoy. Like Veneer is a band in Winnipeg that's kind of like ambient music, and they're not like the image that comes to mind when you think of like, oh, this is like a branded artist. Like you look at their page and you're like, what? It's a picture of a glove, but they're consistent. Like they've decided that this is going to be like us, you know, and this is what we find really funny and interesting, and we're just going to share that. And I think that's really valuable to like look at it from that perspective. Like you don't have to be a curated feed of beautiful images of, you know, models in bikinis to get engagement on social media. You just have to be yourself and be yourself consistently. And someone's going to like it. Like it always happens that way. Someone's going to like you for who you are. Souvenir, Hello Begonia has a really great personal brand going. She's very funny and she does that consistently on her page. Josiah Galleries, visual artist, Suresh Jalili. They also have very distinct styles, so that's something that evolves over time, and I respect that. So I think it really depends. But those are the people I admire.
Also Begonia. Yeah, she's so great.
So great.
I think it's funny because her feed isn't the most polished. Sorry, Begonia, sorry. But she is so amazing and herself in every way. So you really feel like when you see her on her platforms, you meet her in person, she's exactly the same, which is so nice and again like very authentic. And then like locally, like my favorites, Jodie Lane, so amazing, such a great writer, but also just love following her feed. And I'm kind of blanking, but there's a lot of people out there who are really great, but there's also a lot of people who are not great, which is okay. I just don't follow them.
It's okay that you don't follow me, but I'm fine. I'm trying to, it's hard to think like on the spot of like actual names of things. I would be like, follow these. I find dancers for some reason have like incredible, I think because they have great photographers behind them and like amazing photographs, but like dancers literally could never talk to you and they'll have like 80,000 followers and I'm obsessed with them. So every dancer in Winnipeg, Carolyn Bourne, Jill, I love all their feeds and everything is so beautiful. And on Twitter, I'm a huge fan of all the, when all the corporations started getting really like sassy and like tweeting back at their customers in kind of like sarcastic ways, I was like, this is it. This is my generation has control of the internet and we're ready. On that note, maybe we should open it up to the crowd. See if there's any questions out there for any of these people, probably not me. If you have a question but you're shy, just wink. But if you're not shy, just stand up and yell your question.
I want to ask a question because I use Facebook for posting things that I attend. Recently I've noticed that I can't for some reason upload video clips to Facebook. I convert them to the Flash format and the MP format. So then I just upload the photographs and then upload the video clips to YouTube, which they accept. I'm not sure why, because I used to be able to use Facebook for uploading short video clips. Unless they're too long. I don't know if they're too long, maybe the length, size limitation for Facebook.
Is it in like MP4? Or?
Well, they're MP4 format, yeah, and they're at the Flash format too, the FLV format, that animation format. I've tried both formats, and they don't seem to take for some reason. Many months ago, they seemed to like Flash format or MP4, but recently, the only ones that I can upload successfully is the photographs in JPEG format. I'm not sure why. I've never tried to upload these same video clips to Instagram, because they take video clips too, right? They might be limited.
Yeah, it has to be like
I'd rather put them on Facebook. Another question I have too is that I'm never sure if I should be duplicating, like say put the pictures on Facebook and the same ones again on Instagram and Twitter, or use one which is going to resonate with my topic of interest to people.
I'm just going to repeat that question in case the Facebook people can't hear it, which was about duplication. Should you be repeating your content on multiple platforms? Thoughts?
I think it's definitely. Keep tricking me. I would definitely repost your content. Not all the time. Sometimes, if you have something that's slightly different from a show that you want to post about, then I would suggest doing that. But I think it's definitely okay to repost your content because there are different people using the platform. And just because someone's using the Instagram doesn't mean they always follow you on Facebook or Twitter. So I think it's totally fine to do that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Same. Consensus.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I would say I find Facebook in the theater specifically, if I post something on Facebook, that's where I get like 40-year-olds and over. And then I have to go to Instagram to get the younger folks. So I find that cross promotion is really important. Any other questions? Yes.
For those of you who have run Instagram or social media accounts in general that are associated with an organization or company, in terms of discovering artists whose work you want to share or people who you might want to collaborate with, how much of that happens on social media? And in cases where it does happen, what are you looking for in their sort of feed or their engagement?
Just to repeat the question, I don't know how many people are watching. Yeah. Thank you. The question was for organizations, and it was about how if you find the people you want to work with or post with via social media. And sorry, what was the second part?
In cases where you do discover them through social media, what are you looking for in their engagement or in their feed?
Great. And then when you do discover them in social media, what are you looking for with their engagement and their feed?
Perfect. It is on this time. So almost 80% of it, 80% happens with specifically the festival happens to be Instagram. People DM us, people message us, people get our emails through our web link, and they contact us saying that they're ready to do a mural. And that's kind of like the big starter. And then when it comes to actually their work, we do ask for a portfolio. We, of course, look at their Instagram and their all their social media. And we also ask references a lot of the time. So if they know an artist that we worked with before, we want to know that this artist is really great with the community, that they're great people, that they would, be a really good fit with us. And so that's kind of, when we're looking for artists, that's kind of like the first steps into actually engaging with them. And even for us, like when we're looking for artists and we see a muralist that we want to connect with, we actually DM them. Even sometimes when they don't say DM, we still DM them. It doesn't always work, but usually it does. So you'd be actually surprised about how many times a private message will actually get you into the door.
Anybody else? No? That's cool.
I don't know. I can't really speak because it was I ran a very small open mic, and so it wasn't at the same level. And everyone I met was like down at the open mic. So in person. So
I sometimes look up to and do some research, and sometimes their work speaks to itself too. You go through them and you look and you contact them and see if they want to meet up, and that's how I go about it too.
Yeah, and I will say just from working at the Free Press and in terms of we're always promoting events and people's, you have an open mic, tell us, you have a show, tell us. But usually the first thing I do is I track you down on Instagram to see like what other photos you have or what kind of story can I build in this article. So I find that's really, really important because we don't, start with a phone call anymore. It all starts on social media for us. And that's kind of the starting off point for where I decide if I'm going to, write a piece on someone or not. And if they have nothing there, it's hard to be inspired by that and be like, oh, I know who you are, and I think I have an idea of like what we can share. Yeah, so I love a good social media. It's a great question. There's a question about followers and following back. Mainly, probably, should you follow everyone back that follows you? Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Is it important to have that, way more followers than people you follow? Does that matter to you?
In terms of our followers, they're generally people we like. Same for myself. If I don't like them, if I don't like their content, if they are very opposite of what we believe in, then they are not going to get a follower or a follow. And also when people are following you, like as an organization, when you follow them back, like usually you would look at their feed, and like this is different for everybody, right? But do they kind of align with also like what your organization means and believes and wants to do? Like, are they artists looking for help? Are these people that could benefit from your business, right? So that's a really big thing. And just because you follow someone or someone follows you doesn't always mean that you have to follow them back, but sometimes it's nice. Again, it's all about that engagement and whether or not, yeah, I don't know. It's very strange, this follower and a follower. Just pay for followers. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ever pay for followers. Yes, please don't do that. But yeah, I don't know if it's... I think people perceive more followers as important, but I don't know if it's really important in the long run. I don't know. It's hard to say. Again, it's this like very big ego thing, right? So it's very strange.
I think, yeah, it is I think, for the longest time, I think, my social circle was hammering in this okay, get followers to do this or that, and especially in the marketing community, it's like, okay, I'm a new company, I need to get followers, but I think people are for the most part smart, and they know that just because you don't have a ton of followers doesn't mean you're a terrible company or that you don't have something of value to offer. And so the whole follower chasing thing, I mean, there is some credit to it, and there are people who still believe that 3,000 followers is better than 1,000 followers. I think following back, I definitely agree with Joy as far as are they aligned with your values or not? I think that's a good guidepost. Yeah, and just be wary of people who are just following just to be a spam, and booby pics 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will start giving you all these messages, and you're like, can you stop? I don't want your booby pics. Yeah, real life story.
Yeah, I mean, I got sometimes a lot of messages on Instagram, these guys saying, hey, you got a lot of potential, and if you pay for this, you're going to get all of these likes. And it's bullshit, if people like it, if people want to know me, they will genuinely want to get to know your work and follow you. And I have no problem following them back. And some people say, oh, you want to, that's the ego thing, that's totally ego talking. And if you look at some of those people who have a lot of followers or some of these people are very successful, and for a lot of the artists, I find really successful people. They're in their 50s, and they have done it since they're 20 years old. And they have done so much in their lifetime that they have done a lot of conference. They have done so many things across the world. And yeah, they're going to have a lot of people because they have been out there and they have been consistent with their life, you know, and the direction they want to go. And eventually your work is going to speak, and it'll, people, when it's going to be a hit or whatever, they're going to start looking for you and stuff. But you don't have to worry about or feel discouraged that you don't have enough followers and no one's liking. I don't think in the first place you should be doing it for the fact that want to have followers. You should be doing it because you're passionate about it. That's how I feel. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I want to love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about. That's what I want to do. That comes first, and followers can come a long way, you know. And so I don't know. That's how I feel.
Sorry, just one more thing on followers. The only thing I get mad about this follower thing, especially on Instagram, is that the swipe up feature, if you have 10,000 followers, that's when you actually are able to use it. So there's a lot of these like weird, and I feel like this is going to happen, my prediction, it's going to happen more and more where these social media platforms are going to use followers and like your count of followers as ways to, and this is all prediction, but yeah, like use followers as a way to make sure that your voice is heard more than others. I think it's the algorithm, I think it's the platform, but that's the only thing that is really frustrating me at the moment. Well, no, that's not the only thing, but you know, that's one of the things.
Right. Yeah, and I just, on a very, like, on a more, I think, interpersonal note, I would say because my accounts are all, they're personal, and personal is also my work, I've done the thing where I tried to be much more exclusive, and, like, I'm only going to follow my peers, my close peers, to, like, create an image of being moderately successful or something. I don't know. You know, I had that idea, and I found it I didn't like it. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good about myself. I felt like my relationships with people were deteriorating. I wasn't making any new friends from it. And kind of just recently, I've been more like, oh, I think I know your name, or I met you at a party, add. And now I see so much interesting stuff, and I feel like I know a lot more people, and I feel more included in the places I am and the industries I'm in. So just on a personal note, I am a big fan of the follow back. And if you follow me, I'll follow you back. And I think on that note, we're basically done for this panel, right? Great question, Rachel. Do you have anything else to add? Do we need to close this off in like a mod? Oh, yeah, get up and bow. Okay, fine. Okay, I thought we were going to do it, but that's fine. Thank you for coming, one viewer, and thank all of you for coming. Now go and enjoy some amazing art on this first Friday. There's Women's Open Mic at Wee Johnny's happening. There's a bunch of different art galleries. There's something really cool at the Creatory that I wrote about where two people are like looking at the same thing and then creating two different pieces of art from it. And that's really great. Yeah, okay, great. Have a great night.